Hi, this is Mark at Ding Dong's Garden. It's raining today, so I figured I'd come inside and show you how the mulberries are progressing. We've got 66 varieties of mulberries on our farm, and I've taken 46 of them and put them in 10-gallon pots in a hoop house to try and see how they fruit, with the goal of maybe setting up a high-density orchard inside the hoop house in the future. Currently, we have about 250 mulberry trees in total. Many of them are young, like these, and we rooted probably 100 this year. So we're going to use these to grow up and then figure out where we're going to put them in the orchard next year. I'm not sure if I'll have time to go through all of the varieties today, but if there's a variety you want to see, or if you have a question about how a certain variety is growing, I'll list all the varieties in the notes section, and just let me know, and I'll try to follow up either in a comment or maybe I can do another video on it. Just to start off with a couple of our early varieties, this is French Syrian. And it's starting to put out a lot of fruit, and it's already starting to change. So it'll end up having pretty big leaves, and by the end of the summer, it should take over this whole area. And this is a Thai dwarf that is also starting to ripen. I'm really looking forward to that. We propagated probably 6 or 7 more, so we'll put them in our orchard and see how they do. This is kind of an interesting one. It's a weeping mulberry that also produces fruit. They're not large fruit, but it does produce fruit, and we've staked it and let it grow pretty tall so that all of the foliage on the top will weep down and it won't run across the floor. This is called Pandora's Box. This is Kip Parker. Again, we rooted a lot of these last winter, so we're looking forward to trying these out and see how well they fruit in quantity, because they taste really good. This is David Smith mulberry. We were able to root, it doesn't root as easily as some other varieties, but we were able to root 1 or 2, and it does put off quite a bit of fruit. So hopefully we can figure out how to better replicate that in the future. This is Beautiful Day mulberry. It's a white colored mulberry. And like other white colored mulberries, it tastes sweet, but it doesn't have that tartness that really adds flavor to the other mulberries. But we're gonna grow quite a few white-colored mulberries, or just the honey sweet ones, and to give our mulberries at the farmers market a little more variety. And this is another white-colored variety called San Martin, and it's really got a heavy fruit set. I don't know, it's hard to peel back the leaves here to see all the fruit that's in there, but there's quite a bit of fruit setting there. We were picking fruit off this for quite some time last year. And here's a third white colored mulberry called Bulu Klu, which is also a pretty good producer. And this is Oscar. It's still got smaller leaves because it's early in the season, but it's got the telltale 3 lobes of an Oscar, and it's putting off a fair amount of fruit too. Some of these fast-growing varieties, I've noticed the fruit will spread apart quickly because the stem it's growing on grows so quickly. Another example of a fast-growing variety is Valdosta. You can see here that when the fruit originally set, it was right next to the trunk, but now the stem has lengthened along the way, so the fruit is quite far from each other. And right next to the Valdosta is a Shangri-La, which is a great mulberry. Fast growing, pretty tree. and has a pretty good fruit set here. This is our Australian we have outside. We put one indoors at the end of the winter. I've got another video up about that. It's producing fruit inside a little early because it's warmer. But again, we've propagated probably half a dozen of these for next year. Hopefully we can get start getting some quantity in our fruit production. And here's our world's best. You just can't have mulberries without having a world's best. Really looking forward to that. And again, we propagated a bunch of these. So this is a variety called Long Red that we got from Davis last year. And so this is its second year of growth after rooting cutting. And we're excited to see how that tastes and how it grows going forward. This is another one we got from Davis called Riviera. It's one of those ones that doesn't fruit directly off the trunk. So you can see here, this branch, this fruiting branch is coming off of a secondary stem, and that's got fruit. But if you go up above here and you look at this branch coming off the trunk, it does not have fruit. We noticed that in a couple other varieties, and I put that in another video because it's kind of interesting. So the lesson learned is if you are rooting a mulberry this year, this spring, and it grows straight without any side branching, next year you may not have fruit depending on the variety, because on some varieties the stem that grows straight out of the trunk will not bear fruit. And this is Galicia. We're really looking forward to, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it looks like Galicia when it's written down. So we're very much looking forward to trying this. And this is Black Prince. We got some fruit off of our tree last year, but we've been able to propagate it, and it looks like the fruit set is going to be much better this year, so we're looking forward to that. It's got very lush leaves like Galicia or some of the other Eastern European varieties. I think I just showed you Long Red, but we also have one here called Big Red that we got from Davis. I think, if I remember correctly, these came out of New York. I'm not sure. I'd have to check my notes, but so they should be cold hardy. And this is Shelley. We got it the same time as we got Galicia. The fruit seems to be smaller, but another thing is that Shelley is a variety that does not fruit off of a stem coming out of the trunk. So what I've done here is I have pruned everything back close to the trunk and left a couple of nodes on each branch in the hopes that we can stimulate it to fruit over the remainder of the year. So I've got some video on that. I'm working on that video, so we'll let you know how that experiment goes. That's all I have time to cover today, but if you have, I'll leave the full list of varieties that we have in this kind of testing area in the notes. And if you have questions, please let us know. And if there's something you want to see, let me know and I'll try to make a video. And as the season goes, I'll be sure to come out here and get a video of each of them as they fruit.